Educators are increasingly implementing multiple programs and initiatives within their schools. As such, the need for planning and monitoring their programs is critical to a program's success. Logic models are an invaluable tool for teachers, administrators, policymakers, and evaluators to visually represent the structure, process, and goals of a program. Similar to an action plan, but with the vital addition of illustrating the anticipated effects of the program, logic models show both the actionable and conceptual elements in a map of your program's success. Now, let's take a look at a simple tool we've designed to help you create a logic model for your program. We'd like to invite you to try out the model and share any suggestions or questions that can be used to inform later editions.
The great thing about logic models is that they provide a visual representation of what a program is doing and what they seek to achieve. Also, logic models provide a common language of all the various terms that are used to assess program performance. It also identifies the resources that are necessary in order to do the activities, exactly what the program seeks to do, and it builds in mechanisms to assess whether or not those activities have been carried out properly. The logic model really teases out all the outcomes that are necessary in order to determine whether or not the goals are being met. Those outcomes include short, mid, and long-term outcomes. And by defining them clearly, everyone will be on the same page on what they can expect at which time throughout the program. Most importantly, logic models provide an overall view of the intent and the process that is being used in order to achieve its goals. And ultimately, all of it comes together to provide a really valuable communications tool, not only for the program itself, but also for all of its stakeholders. There's lots of different ways of creating a logic model, lots of formats, lots of philosophies of how it should look. The most notable is just taking a pen to paper. However, I think the best way of doing it is the Education Logic Model Application, or ELM, that was created by REL Pacific.
Yeah, this project was funded through the Institute of Education Sciences, and through that funding, we were able to develop a tool to help educators create a logic model for their programs. This tool is intended to help users in the Pacific region and also nationally. Once users download this free application, they're able to install it to their computer, and upon opening it, they would begin here on the home screen. On the home page, users of the Education Logic Model can begin a step-by-step guide to identify their program's individual components, including resources, activities, outputs, and outcomes. On the Program Information page, the application begins by asking users to provide basic information about their program. This can include the program name, where it's being implemented, and a brief description. From there, users are prompted to define different program components, beginning with its resources, which are the items, facilities, funding, and people that are needed to implement the program. Here on the Activities page, users input activities, which are the services, actions, or efforts that are involved in delivering the program. On the Outputs page, users are asked to consider what observable products will emerge as a result of completing the program's activities. The last three program components are outcomes, which differ from outputs in that they describe differences in knowledge, skills, and behavior, and in turn, progress towards program goals. The short-term outcomes page provides users a place to enter expected changes in participants' knowledge, attitudes, or skills that may occur by completion of the program. On the midterm outcomes page, users enter outcomes that typically reflect changes in a participant's behavior resulting from the program. Finally, on the long-term outcomes page, users input outcomes that often reflect enduring influences of the program on its participants. Users can easily navigate through this application on their own or follow the built-in step-by-step guide. General definitions, guiding questions, and examples are provided for each of these components throughout the application. After the individual components have been entered into the application, users can then create connections between the components to show how a program is expected to operate and how each component influences another component. At this point, users will have a completed logic model to share with colleagues, include in a presentation, use in a report or proposal, and to help guide program monitoring and evaluation.
I think what excites me the most about this application is the step-by-step wizard-like approach that we've taken. It provides users who have no background in logic models a very, very simple approach to getting them done without fear that they needed to have some kind of education or a special terminology or some kind of background with them in order to get that done. I think that's what separates ELM from any other kind of approach people might be taking to creating education logic models.
This work was done by REL Pacific at McREL, the regional educational laboratory serving the Pacific region. There are 10 regional educational laboratories, or RELs for short, operating throughout the United States, under contract to the Institute of Education Sciences at the U.S. Department of Education. The mission of the REL program is to build the capacity of staff at state departments of education and in school districts and complexes to conduct education research, use education research and data to identify areas for improvement, choose approaches to address the needs they've identified, and to track and evaluate the outcomes of those choices. The RELs work with their regions through research alliances, or groups of key education policymakers, practitioners, and researchers who work together over time. These groups identify actionable issues that can be better understood and addressed through using data and research. While each REL serves its region first and foremost, it makes its work available to other regions of the country. We have seen that in different parts of the country, education policymakers and practitioners tend to struggle with issues in similar areas, such as achievement gaps and college and career readiness.